You know, I used to love the piece of my yard. It was my sanctuary: gnomes, flamingos, a ceramic frog here and there, the kind of garden that would make you smile just by looking at it. It wasn't a manicured lawn. No, it was whimsical, a little weird even. But that's what made it mine. And it wasn't hurting anyone. I'm sure most people would have walked by and thought, well, that's cute. Or what a fun little space. But then she moved in, Karen. At first, I didn't know what to make of her. She was quiet, kept to herself. Her yard? Sterile beige gravel with a couple of shrubs. The kind of lawn that looked like a parking lot for plants. Not that I had any problem with that, not at first. But the problem started when Karen saw my gnomes, my flamingos. I don't know what happened in her mind, but it was like my yard was a personal affront to her. Like she had a mission to make everyone else's life a living hell. The first thing she did? She took one of my gnomes. 2 days after I set it up. I thought it was a prank, maybe one of the kids in the neighborhood, but not his. Wasn't a joke. Then, a flamingo disappeared. Then my frog. And one day, on my driveway, I found a shattered ceramic frog with a note that read, "This is not whimsy, it's a nuisance." Signed, of course, by the Community Standards Liaison. It wasn't even an official title, but Karen had made a badge for it. And it wasn't just the decorations. Karen was on a mission to destroy anything she didn't understand or approve of. One day, she knocked on my door. I'll never forget it. She was wearing a pink visor and holding a clipboard like she was some kind of cop, ready to arrest me for something serious. She flipped through laminated pages like a paralegal said. According to Section 14.2c of the HOA Covenant, yard decor must reflect the aesthetic integrity of the neighborhood. I blinked. "It's a flamingo," I said, trying to keep it light. But she was serious. "No joke." "Exactly," she said, like I was some criminal. The next morning, I found an envelope on my porch. A citation for visual clutter. $25 fine. I laughed it off. Thought it was a mistake. The next day, another fine, this time for lawn encroachment. What does that even mean? So, I went to the HOA president. "Mike." I told him what was happening. He shrugged. "Karen's passionate," he mumbled. And that was it. That's how deep it went. Karen was the queen of this HOA. And she wasn't stopping there. This woman had mapped out the positions of every gnome in my yard, using GPS coordinates. She created a spreadsheet of all my so-called unsanctioned decor. She emailed it to the entire block. I swear, my gnomes were marked red. She demanded that I remove all non-conforming decor within 72 hours. Replant my flowers with HOA-approved hydrangeas. Even repaint my fence because it was too whimsical. I told her no. And that's when she took it personally. She didn't just escalate. She mobilized. She started walking around the neighborhood with a tape measure and a GoPro. She said it was for the board, but the board never asked for it. She gave herself the title of Visual Compliance Officer and started patrolling at sunrise. One morning, I caught her photographing my solar-powered mushroom lights like a sniper. That's when I knew this wasn't about rules. This was about control. She wanted to crush anything she didn't approve of. But it got worse. One day, I came home to find my "Welcome to our whimsy" sign snapped in two. Karen was speed walking away, all smug, like she had just solved a mystery. When I confronted her, she said, "Wind damage." It hadn't rained in days. She winked. Nature's unpredictable. That's when I decided to get serious. I bolted the gnomes down. Used rebar. Concrete epoxy. My flamingos. They didn't just stand anymore, they defied gravity. The next morning, I caught Karen in broad daylight trying to yank one of my flamingos loose with a crowbar. She screamed when it didn't budge. I just stood on my porch and waved. But Karen wasn't done. She started showing up at all hours, looking for any little thing to complain about. And I could see the madness in her eyes. She wasn't just upset about the decor anymore. She was obsessed. But then came the moment I knew things were really going off the rails. Karen tried to sabotage my yard for real. One night, I woke up to find that one of my flamingos had been stolen. And right across my lawn. A trench had been dug like someone was trying to erase all my hard work. One flamingo was missing, and I found it 2 houses down jammed in a recycling bin. Its leg was snapped. That night, I upgraded my security. The next morning, Karen showed up again in pajamas, hedge clippers, and a bottle of vinegar. She was trying to melt my gnomes. I sent the footage to the police officer, and his response: "This is so stupid, it might actually be a felony." And that was the turning point. Karen's final act of rebellion? She faked a city complaint, accusing me of having a meth lab in my backyard because of my solar lights. A city inspector showed up, chuckled when he saw the complaint. He toured the yard, found nothing, and left. But I had her IP address from the false tip. I handed it over to the officer. 2 charges now: vandalism and false reporting. But the best part? Karen's HOA power was officially stripped. She was suspended from all HOA duties. And soon, the neighborhood started to turn against her. Mike? He was furious. He called an emergency board meeting. And by the end of the night, Karen was out. But she didn't give up. No, she came back, this time with glitter in her hair and a suspiciously large trash bag. She was pulling out rolls of caution tape, like she was declaring a state of emergency in my yard. The neighbors watched as she roped off my entire lawn like it was a crime scene. She pulled out a megaphone and started yelling about visual tyranny and unsanctioned art installations. I stood there, pruning my roses, watching the chaos unfold. Then, Mike, Derek, and Officer Friendly showed up. "Karen," Mike said, "you're suspended from all HOA duties. You can't enforce anything but your own laundry schedule." That's when she lost it. She started hurling insults, trying to claim that I was the one causing trouble. But as she raged, Derek stepped forward with his phone. "Karen, I ran the Wi-Fi signal from your house when you filed that city complaint. The IP matches your submission." The officer raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, you're trespassing and spraying vinegar on someone's landscaping. That smells like salad dressing." And just like that, Karen's reputation was destroyed. Her authority? Shredded. The neighborhood rallied behind me, and we threw a block party to celebrate. We projected footage of Karen's meltdown on a sheet taped to my garage. Kids dressed as lawn gnomes, and one of them posed by my flamingo. The whole thing went viral. But here's the real twist. The city reached out. They wanted to use my yard as a pilot for a new initiative, creative landscaping for community wellness. They even offered me a paid consulting role to help rewrite the outdated HOA policies that Karen had used to terrorize us all. As for Karen, well, she had to do community service gardening under my supervision. Every Saturday, she reported to me, and I handed her gloves and a smile. In the end, I won. My yard became a legend. And Karen? She's a footnote in a cautionary tale of what happens when you try to control people's happiness. But what do you think? Was I right to stand my ground, or did I go too far? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this whole situation. Who's in the wrong here, and who's in the right? Don't forget to hit that like button, and share this story with someone who needs a good laugh.